is actually Dawn. I feel like Dawn, after 3 games, I expect them to be at least towards the top, if not in the top 5, but they find themselves kind of struggling on the right side of the leaderboard. But with Miramar, you know, it's a new map, obviously, new drops, new rotations, new things to deal with as far as this kind of amalgamation of teams come together. We'll see how it goes.
Now, and from your opinion of what we saw in Erangel, as we've kind of brought up a couple of times today, a lot of these teams have never played one another. They haven't maybe even seen each other since the Charity Showdown, if that. So we've been going weeks and weeks with these teams not being used to playing on each other, rotating on each other, taking their drop spots as well. Do you think that that's been a factor for day one?
I think aside from potentially like a few obvious drops being contested and maybe 1 or 2 teams getting pushed out, I don't think it's going to affect these guys too much. The rotations, I think, are a big one, as well as just the general play style of the lobby and the teams in the lobby. But as far as drops, I don't think it's that drastic.
Yeah, now, of course, with that, guys, we did see the first circle pop. Right now, Clueless, Dawn, and Carnage are entirely out of the zone. They need to work their way up north to get in the circle. We've got plenty of teams all along the edge, but here in Picado, already off the bat, Snow Patrol and 64 up. Snow Patrol has been playing very aggressive, currently second place on the leaderboard. 64 up, who's had a little bit of a lackluster start to the day. But you know what? I mean, from this position, I really like that. Now back in Leonis as well, we've got 2 teams here. Carnage joined along with Tazinator just off to their east. The rest of Orion has already landed inside the circle there in La Bandita. So if something should happen to Tazinator here, it's not going to look good for him. We can see just off in the distance that little bit of purple as he is making his way, I think, out of Leonis, probably reading that situation. But I mean, Picado, this is a make or break. Sometimes we see only 1 team land here, but to have 2 off the bat, oh, look at this.
It's not terribly surprising to have 2, but I will say that Snow Patrol is a team that I feel like they're starting to get comfortable, right? They're starting to get confident. I think maybe in the beginning of like PCS, you would see a team contest here, and Snow Patrol would probably be a little hesitant. Maybe they'd back off, but I mean, they have confidence right now, and they should. They're playing really well. We said it time and time again in PCS that, you know, these guys were kind of like the sponges of the lobby. Even if they fail, they make mistakes, or they get sent down to, you know, basically relegation. That they would be able to, you know, kind of use the experience that they had in the previous lobby and bring it here. And so far, they've done it. I'm actually really impressed with Snow Patrol.
Yeah, I mean, it's also, Snow Patrol is from the Collegiate. So the CBA, the PUBG Collegiate League here in NA, a mix of colleges from them, but these are teams that have been, or players that have been playing together for quite a long time. They're used to being the top of their leaderboard, and I think that's why they struggled out of the gate here a bit, is now you're playing at a broader leaderboard with a much higher range of skill. But as you said, I mean, they've really taken up a lot of knowledge, learned and grown, so to speak, kind of gone to school on things, and we've really seen them blossom here. So I'm really hopeful. These are 4 really strong players that seem to have a lot of cohesion. But I mean, Duel now, this is one that as we kind of heard before, this is just whatever this experiment is, it's not working.
I mean, I really just don't want to keep beating it to death, you know, like I don't really know what else there is to say about Duel than we've already said. They just shouldn't be here, and they're here. Regardless, even if they're here, they just haven't really been doing much anyway. So I just don't know what's going on with Duel.
Now we've got a couple of teams rotating a little bit close here. We can see Calm Card with Rarity off in the distance, just beyond them, one eye open, and we can't quite see it here on screen, but even off to the west, we've got East Coast Red Zone. So a lot of teams reading the circle, wanting to kind of have the high ground and the northern play here. But for right now, should be just enough distance that we won't see too much chaos. We can now follow with Exposed, rotating in from the west. This is another team that kind of have been wishy-washy. Right now in 6th place, they've had some brilliant moments on Erangel, but other places where they've kind of fallen apart and struggled. A lot of their points right now, about just over half for kills. So, I mean, placement points have been really good for them, but at the same time as well, I've seen a lot come from them. I kind of would like to see more coming out of them on Miramar today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they won the first game, did they not? Was it not Exposed, I believe?
They did, but I don't think it was a high kills.
It
That's
wasn't.
kind of
It
really
wasn't
what
a
we've
high
seen.
kill
It's been
game.
placement points over kills for a lot of today so far. Did have one game where they popped off. I mean, 605, kind of the same deal. I think they got really used to being at the top of their lobbies, and now are struggling just a bit. And so some of these teams that I was honestly expecting to come out with kill points just aren't able to secure that so far today, and are just getting by on placement alone.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point with Expose is that, you know, they have a total of 24 points. 13 of those are kill points, which means that they only have 11 placement points, and one of those was from the first place, right? So consistency definitely not as far as the kill points for them, the placement points. But I mean, these guys are also fraggers, man. We've seen some really nice stuff. That nice off angle in the first game that kind of gave Matty that duel that he needed to win against San Diego Rarity. So I'm still hopeful with these guys. Again, 3 games down. I will say this, though. Once this game is over and mostly goes to the 5th game and that game also concludes, then I will start to worry about some of the teams that are on the bottom, some of the teams that are not playing as well. Nice shot coming out of Jewel. No connection, though. Very close.
Yeah, and like as you said, I mean, once we start winding down for the day, these teams only have through tomorrow to rack up enough points, get to the top 8, and move on, securing their spot for PCS2. But as we kind of look as well, I mean, Atheris, another team, has really been struggling. And
they are struggling, yeah.
I think that as well, we've kind of seen them fall apart. They've had some roster changes. They've changed up their play style, and it just doesn't seem to be working. It wasn't working up in the major leagues, and it's so far not working for them today. But right now, Dodge, there you go, taking out Plush God. 605 down to just 3 players, and already see him scrambling for vehicles. They're caught out in the open on this ridge line. We could just see bullets in every direction from Dodge, who's got great line of sight of this. Frost goes down as well. And this is going to be Reno right now with a good pick. And Crop, maybe? Are we repositioning for a better angle on this?
Is he actually getting aggressive? There's no way. They're so far away.
Oh, that's okay. We can dream, right?
I mean, that would have
look
been the ballsiest push I've ever seen. Like, look at the distance. Oh, man, if he went underneath, that would have been crazy.
There we go. Duke already as well, pushing ahead, scouting for that next position for 605 to put down. Right now, the only team to their north is Exposed, who's on a 2-2 split. And now the pressure is still coming from Dodge. We can look, still landing all of that damage at this distance. This is insane. It's almost a kilometer away in some degrees. Frost is actually quite far from the rest of Exposed at this angle. So that said, I mean, looks like Clueless might also be pushing in on this as well. You've got a Theros off in the distance that we can see, but right now, with a circle like this, as we wait for that first phase to close, that's going to be the thing that paints the story. Miramar is known for these wild, yo-yo, hard shift circles, and right now, with it being 100% playable area and landmass into this, that could really spell a lot of trouble, as we also see Clueless driving into Dodge. It might be a trouble in and of itself.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised we didn't see like a completely off the East Coast circle. I mean, our Miramar circles have been pretty ridiculous overall, but I don't know what it is exactly about Miramar that I love so much as we watch the first. Speaking of speaking of a little bit of a hard shift all the way to the northwest there, I just love Miramar though. I don't know what it is about this map. I don't know if it's the terrain and fighting on the terrain and the fact that you can take quite a bit of it on foot. It's just a very visceral CQC map, and I think that's what I love so much about it.
You know, and I do too. If anybody ever asks me what my favorite map is, it is by and large Miramar time and time again. But now, I mean, as we kind of go back, we've got some, what is competitive PUBG without accidentally running over your teammate at least once a game?
Happens once a game, yeah.
Yeah, guys, I mean, you notice the blood's flowing, the adrenaline's pumping, you get out of the car just a little bit too fast and run in front of your teammate, but again, this circle did take a bit of a hard shift. Most teams are in the zone, but we've got teams like Snow Patrol and Dawn who are going to be very late into this rotations, and a couple of teams that were just on the edge looking for that next spot in the Central's position, and that means that they're going to start fighting Clueless and 605 for these compounds. They really want to get as center to the zone as possible, and that's going to make this a really crowded area. We're only into phase 2, and we can see already how much a play is for the central part of the zone for these compounds and for the high ground.
Yeah, I think that's one thing as well that we've seen kind of a lot of teams do, not only in challenges with PCS, is they panic to get in the circle instead of taking their time. We've seen a lot of teams in the past find success in coming in late. I think Tempo is like a perfect example of that. Oh, shots coming out. Destinator, can he get it? No, he's going to get knocked.
Oh, man. We've got a trade of knocks here between 6 feet under and Orion, but it looks like Tazinator might be able to help out Destinator as long as, no nades are out, but we could see already SFU with 3 still up. Trying to get an angle on this. Gas gets found. Shot in the back there by Tazinator. As Soup, by the way, picks up another. It's 2 for 2 on both of these teams right now. But still an opportunity for those reses if they can clean this up
quickly. Nice nade.
Oh, there we go. Nades are out, but they're not able to find that completion. And we're actually getting a revive here. Potato trying to pick one person up. I love Gwen Stacy is down. We see Tazinator trying to climb to this as well, not wanting to get taken out by a nade or throwable inside this house, but I think SFU just might be running out a bit. They've got some smokes out right now, but again, can't find the angle on it. Tazinator's going to go down one more time. Didn't have a chance to heal here, and now it's I love Gwen Stacy who's the only one standing.
And they're giving Orion a lot of room. I mean, the fact that they have them cornered, they have multiple angles they're taking, and SFU is just playing this, very cautiously. This could end up biting them. I mean, we'll have to see. Orion is definitely not a team in this lobby that you want to give a chance to. Beautiful spray coming out of ILGS onto Infamous. That's going to be a nice knock.
And Gwen Stacy as well picking one up, looking for that peek on the corner right now, but Orion didn't take down. Scouse is going to pick that up, and we've got another one as well. 6 feet under, cleaning it out. Orion nice. GG goes out in 16th. There you go. Miramar, whoever looks good and healthy on Erangel won't always do the same here, but again, SFU, we saw them play really well so far today, picking up 4 here.
Yeah, that's going to be huge as well, taking down the lobby leaders. And I kind of feel like we cursed them, Clover, just saying that, Orion looks so consistent on Miramar, and they're really good on Miramar too. It's just, nope, they're going to go out first. And look at this shift down to the water treatment area and the surrounding hills. This is actually a circle that we saw quite a bit in PCS.
Yeah, and, as well, this circle, we had so many teams guessing that it was going to hang up to the high ground off to the north. So with San Martin in play, you've got water treatment that hasn't been touched. It is a very risky place to be, however. And so many teams right now are opting for the west in position. We can see you're Exposed, Dodge, Clueless, 605, Snow Patrol, all rotating onto one another. They want to hold what's left of the high ground compounds, trying to avoid these cities where you can oftentimes get trapped and lose out on the ability to get kills, but also rotate out of those positions. And so I think we might start to see teams fall left and right here now, as we can see Carnage Gaming walking up onto One Eye Open again and looking for their position in the zone. We've got Carnage, Calm Card, Dawn still not in the circle yet. San Diego Rarity coming in just on the outside as well. So with 15 teams up, we've still got a couple that are looking for their spot in the zone. Oh, Microstar, what happened? Oh, it's a motorcycle.
Oh, no.
Oh, this is what you hate to see. Calm Card's got full line of sight on this, but Mini Fridge is going to attempt this res. That may come at the cost of the Morados. We can see just a little bit of panic, trying to make sure he's got enough cover into all of this, working on the res. Oh, that is it for their vehicle.
That is tragic, to say the least. And now they're caught in the blue. This is not the position that Don wants to find
Mini Fridge only has 9 bandages. This is for phase 3. That's not looking healthy. All it's going to take is Calm Card or another squad to get 1 or 2 bullets into them while they're in the blue, but it looks like they might have actually been able to pick up that motorcycle after all and move in. Meanwhile, East Coast Red Zones taking this from another angle as Carnage is still working on their way, filing into the zone, but this is a good line of sight here. We could see also checking out San Diego Rarity from afar, who also need to push into their zone as well.
San Diego Rarity, I'm trying to remember kind of what their history has been on Miramar overall. I feel like they've had some really good games on Miramar, but they've also had a lot of inconsistency, actually.
I think that's true. They're very hit and miss on Miramar.
Yeah.
Inland, no, Bubba. Lampalot picking up one right now. Lampalot, I think, is right now the strongest kill leader for Duel. We see him pick up a lot of points in every 100%. Iteration of Duel. He's always looked really healthy. Sometimes the last player still alive pretty consistently for them as well, picking up kills. Had that really great game on Erangel earlier where he got 7. during that military circle. But, I mean, we're already into phase 3, 57 alive, 15 teams. Given these wild yo-yo circles, we still have so many players up, but I can't imagine it's going to be much longer as we can see our next circle shift, and that is going to make where these teams can squat and play out a little bit of a slim pickings.
Yeah, I imagine we'll see maybe 1 or 2 teams fall here. We'll see definitely a lot of teams get crippled, but in the next circle specifically after this one closes, I think is when we're going to lose at the very least 5 teams. This circle is very brutal to play.
And as you see, Carnage Gaming, who's been very patient on these rotations up to the north. We've talked a bit about San Diego Rarity and how they were going to kind of come into this losing a couple players on that rotation. Carnage is going to pick up 2, and it's just Deadeye working his way into the zone. Oh, struggling to control that Murado. But where's he going to go? We can just see already Atheris right in front. I mean, every compound right now has been taken, and now he's just stuck out in the open with no cover.
In the open, and the fact that he's still alive is very shocking. Shots may be coming out from Atheris, but no, Deadeye's actually going to make it. Holy smokes. I lied. I spoke too soon. Deadeye, I'm so sorry.
There you go. Duel's going to pick up another, as we can see again, Carnage Gaming working their way into the circle, coming into East Coast Red Zones, who have had a really nice angle here. I haven't given it up just yet. They've been doing a good job keeping all of the teams up to the north on their toes, but now Carnage has actually managed to rotate all the way around them. One eye open in that next position, and Duel and Comcard. There's a trade right there. Zovran and Lampalot are going to go down. Why So Ugly falls as well as Tony V picks up another one, but not before taking some damage himself. And you hate to see it, but Duel, who had 2 players out of this compound, now needing to make a decision. Do they want to push for this?
V.
Tony. 11 HP. Climbing there from boosters. And you got Wooly and Cherry, I think, struggled for a second. We saw Wooly almost make a move for this, and Tony's like, nah, man, I've got this.
Yeah, he actually saved Duel there, specifically getting that kill and then clearing this compound as well. This is an important compound to hold on edge, especially where Duels also have their other split at a gas station. So Tony V coming up huge. Again, this player specifically, Tony's always been kind of a nutter. Definitely a very strong fragger. He's been on different iterations of rosters throughout his career, and it's actually really nice to see him on Duel. Unfortunately, Duel not doing the best with him. Just with themselves, really, in general.
I mean, you know, and maybe it's safe to say that, like, had Duel had more time with this roster, would they have had an opportunity to be more cohesive? But, I mean, East Coast Red Zones, again, more team of a lot of players who have played together, who have been on various types of competitive rosters, and I've seen them look very comfortable. Now, this is a really tricky push here. You've got Clueless, 605, and Exposed in every angle here. And East Coast Red Zones looking to pick one up, setting up the shot there for Pistola. Zealot almost getting the knock. There you go, finds it. Already, here we go. Nitrogen as well, starting to take a lot of fire, but Exposed still has an angle on this. And East Coast Red Zones. I mean,
I just saw the distance that we got to see Pistola try to throw that grenade, and I mean, I don't know who he thought he was. Do you think he's John Elway? Because I don't think he could ever get that as close as he wanted to. But yeah, that was a hopeless situation, and sadly he was going to go down for it. But even still, I mean, Team Clueless has a little bit of a ridge here to play. They have a decent position as long as this hillside doesn't get cut out of the circle.
I mean, yeah, we've got really 2 tier 2 layers to play with on this zone, but now as Duel is trying to work their way into the circle and hold the rest of this ridge, they've still got Carnage to worry about. One eye open going out when Hardy was just on the backside of this, found out by McDubb, but 6 kills already for Carnage. They are looking so good today, and now Tony V and Wooly are kind of trapped in this position. They're not going to be able to push on to the zone until they can take care of Carnage, but we're in phase 5, and this blue is going to hurt, so Duel can play this if they play it well, but they're going to have to be smart on it. Meanwhile, ECR now with the big crash onto Exposed. Sauki is immediately going to go down, but they are not going to take this solid fight, but again, we still see Clueless, 605. They're up on the hills, and they've got sight on this.
This is actually a 3-on-3 as well. One of the members of Exposed are down. So if Red Zones gets a nice little wrap here, maybe an off angle from J Snow for life on the backside, they could actually take this fight.
Ooh, and there you go. A little bit of a hard push coming in from East Coast Red Zones as they work to secure one of the buildings right now. Meanwhile, Duel is eliminated. A very strong push came from Carnage Gaming. I think we're unfortunately able to finish crossing the road, as we can see now as well. Zealot is actually pushed a bit far, not even aware that Quattro has walked up behind him. An easy knock and flush. There's 605 picking up their first and only kill so far, but with one man alive. It's going to be a good angle for him to hold here, but he's still got Clueless on the high ground. As we see Exposed starting to scramble a bit to try and hold this compound along with ECR. They've got the building split here.
Yeah, it's actually crippling. For them to lose a member like that. ECR, they had a really nice off angle on that rock, but he wasn't expecting Quattro from behind, and now TC has a nice, comfortable little view of this whole compound, and what's happened here to Dawn?
Ooh. Dawn was lost too. We've had a couple of teams struggle just a bit on their southern rotations into the zone. SFU has been caught off just a bit from a couple of these teams. Meanwhile, we've got Dodge and Compound just to the north of this, so even as this circle closes, Dawn, like we can see here, trying to make sure that they're not going to have any competition, because from this angle, there's not a lot of cover here. And we're going to have that next circle pop in just a couple of seconds and see exactly how far they're going to have to go. Right now, you've got SFU, 64 up, Dawn, all on the edge of zone, all aware of each other's positions, all have been fighting each other for this last moment. And look, that is a hard pull up for Dawn. They're going to have
Couldn't
to
have been worse.
So many.
Really could not have been worse for them. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about that circle shift. I mean, I think their best option would potentially be to wrap towards the left and try to sneak into the bowl of the compound where Dodge is at, but even still, it's going to be a tall order. I mean, the edge is pretty much taken here by two separate teams, although one is crippled and one is a solo. Either way, it's going to be rough for Dawn. Team Clueless as well. I mean, they're pretty much going to have to move into that compound that's currently occupied by Exposed, as well as the other team that they're fighting. So this is rough for everyone all around. This is definitely one of those circles where you wanted to be in it before. Oh, what a molly!
Oh, Sociopath on fire. Not looking good, but Soup, by the way, finishing it out. That's it for 64 up. You love to see the mollies come out, especially here on Miramar, but immediately 6 feet under, taking a look at Atheris. They want this compound. Atheris is the 4 kills so far. Haven't been too terribly quiet, but again, from the high ground, you're right. Clueless is going to have to take that push into Exposed and ECR, but ECR in a healthier position that way. But, I mean, even still, you've got Dawn and Snow Patrol who are nowhere close to the zone right now. Like Snow Patrol is aware that Dawn is here. Oh, Morty's going to get Hershey, but it's picked off immediately by Clueless here as Dawn starting to struggle here a bit in the blue. Can't quite stay ahead. Morty rotating, looking for an angle on Crawfish, is going to go ahead and vault over the fence. Watching this building, he knows exactly where he is. Trying to pick up at least one more point. He doesn't have far to go, but Crawfish is going to fall. It's just Mitchy Boy still alive. Wait. Oh, the zone. Oh,
that's crazy.
Is actually going to finish this out, and Mitchy Boy had actually sent it a little bit earlier. He's going to find a shack inside the zone. Still alive from this. He took a bike inside. But,
yeah.
You know, again, you've still got Clueless here. And, I mean, they're still not in the zone. They've still got to move.
I don't know what they're waiting
might
for.
Be the thing that helps out Mitchy.
They need to get in. They don't have time, and the more they sit on that edge and the circle comes in, they're really not going to be able to weigh their options. Look, they're just getting forced into the open right now.
Oh, Dodge taking out Nitrogen. Immediately comes the flush. Reno picking up one, but it's 20 FPS, trying so hard to make it to that shack. Healing is actually going to get found by Mitchy Boy. And that's another point there for Snow Patrol. Clueless going down in 8th, but you said it yourself. I mean, there's not a lot of coverage here, and these circles are going to be brutal. We've got 5 seconds till that next one goes. Athera starting to clean up just a bit. We're looking for Mardonis, trying to find a good angle on this. And
oh my goodness.
All of those teams to the north.
Yep, Dodge is just thanking their lucky stars right now. They could not be happier with this circle.
There you go, and with that, though, it means the rest of these teams are going to have to start rotating. We see Atheris getting ready. They've got vehicles in hand ready to go. And we can see Mitchy Boy is just taking so much fire from that shack. Skask as well, kind of trapped in this position. Atheris rotating early might be a little beneficial to them. It just depends on where they decide to put down could still be in line of sight. Theris knows he's there, but Crop is going to start that distraction as Darth goes down, and here we go, Expose finally taking that push onto East Coast. Only Jules is still up, starting to clean, and there you go. ECR is eliminated. We see Exposed players looking for that res, but it's phase 7, and those reses might not happen. We see Jules right now focusing on the heals.
I think they'll get the res. I lied. I totally lied. I don't think they're going to get the res at all. I thought they had more time, but really they didn't. And now Atheros, who's a team that has been struggling more so with the last 3 games, finally find themselves in a good position at the end of the game, which is what we really needed to see from these guys.
And there we go. Styles with the knock onto Jules. Mardonis is going to pick up Tomas, and that is 2 players down for Exposed. That is it for Exposed. 3 teams still up. Dodge and Atheros, who have been in compounds for much of this, in very healthy position, staying alive, and Reno finds scouts. That's it for 6 feet under. So here we go. We got our 2 4v4 team compounds. Atheros so up for kills. Dodge with 5, Atheros 7.
They need to not be stacked right now. The 2 members that are stacked on each other from Atheros need to move. One of them needs to move, and they need to do it before Dodge gets out of that compound completely. Mardones and Styles should not be on top of each other like that.
Ooh, now, the one thing that is going for Atheros right now is that, unlike Erangel, a nade is not going to explode these hay bales. These hay bales will be able to stay without being taken down, but as you can see now, Lister has been found out, and Dodge getting ready to move it and send it. They're trying to build hard cover using vehicles of their own. See a nice spread and layout for them here. Almost a solid line as they are going to get that next zone. Holding on to phase number 8 here. This puts them in such a healthy position.
That was such a disgusting... Monty and his bolts recently have just been out of control. But I also will say that knock was huge because that actually slowed down Atheros and allowed Dodge to get such a wide berth on this circle. Now they have pretty much complete control to the point where even Finna feels comfortable going for a crate. Dodge, although, again, they were given the circle, they played it very well and they've been playing it correctly.
Ooh! Crop is going to get a nice headshot there onto Mardonis as Monty tries to pick it up again with the bolty. Into 4 out, but there you go. Mardonis trying to get the res, walking up to Styles. Atheros trying to keep their numbers in. Blue is going to start moving here in a second, and that means that these players in the backside of Atheros can't stay here for much longer. We can see Dodge taking out their vehicles, creating more hard cover. That's going to let them get a little bit closer and take a couple more chances here on these shots. We see Reno as well with the mini still out, trying to find it, and Atheros, they were up on kills right now, but Dodge is just looking so good.
I also want to point out too, Dodge was definitely spread out, but they're spread out enough to where they can still support each other and even potentially maybe help get a knock. I mean, the way that they've spread themselves throughout the circle is very impressive, and this is reminiscent of the Dodge that we first started to see back in qualifiers.
There you go, and Reno with a nice nade will get that knock on Lister as that hard push is starting to come in. Dodge has almost pushed all of the players here onto the blue zone. Styles is going to go down, Darth very low, and all 4 players of Dodge looking very healthy. That's a lot, and Mardonis right now kind of pushed behind. We've got a pan out, we've got Molly's out, and there comes the DBS. I think Dodge is feeling very confident in this. Ascend right now from Crop. There's only 1 player still up. Can they find him? Once this fire goes out, I think that might be it. Mardonis, a little bit of a give-up mode. Fouled by Crop, and there you have it. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Dodge